Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Steel and Velvet podcast. I am Nash.
And I am Macey.
We're very excited to be back with you guys. Today we're going to be talking about testimonies, and specifically ours. We're just excited to talk about it with you guys. We had a certain topic that we were going to go with, but
We're going to do it next week.
We're going to do it probably next week, but we decided to go with our testimonies today just so you guys can get to know us a little more and more how, it involves our relationship along with our testimonies. But to get that started, I think Macey is going to read some scripture for us to kind of open up the door to what testimonies mean to us as Christians and for us in our relationship as well.
Okay, Galatians 1:23 through 24. All they knew was that people were saying, the one who used to persecute us is now preaching the very faith he tried to destroy, and they praised God because of me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much
easy and effortless
for reading that. So that is pretty self-explanatory, I feel like. This is about Paul, and in Galatians, people were noticing what was going on in his life. And I think if this isn't a great example of what our testimonies can do for others, like they said, that Paul was the one who used to persecute, and now he's building up the faith that he tried to destroy. And he's living into that faith more than most people probably were at this time. So as we go along, I think it's really important to remember, not just for us that we're sharing our testimony, but that you guys, to be sharing your testimony along with, other people in your family, wherever, it's a crucial part of the Christian walk is to share that and share what God has done in your life and the goodness that you've seen through him. So that's what we're doing today. I don't know who wants to start first.
Is that a hint at you wanting me to go first?
I don't know. Do you want me to start?
No, I can go.
Okay, so Macey is going to start off with her testimony, I guess, and whatever rabbit trails or rabbit hole she goes down will be all welcomed.
Okay.
So Macey Littlejohn, soon to be Marks. What do you have to say?
4 months. Okay, so I grew up in a Christian household, very typical Christian upbringing, I guess. Going to church every Sunday, church on Wednesdays, and then I was part of a Bible study growing up. But it wasn't until I was 20. Is that when I met you?
I think.
Sorry, I shouldn't be asking you questions about
20,
my own testimony.
20.
So, wait, I feel like I need to backtrack. So, I was part of a Bible study from 7th grade till my senior year. It was the same group of girls, and it was very solid, just a great friend group. And then I had a little spell of anxiety-ish. I don't even know. I didn't go to therapy or anything for it, but I was just really anxious my junior year, basically the whole entire year. And then some reason I got past it my senior year, and then I kind of got into just not the best influences. I'm trying to think. Just friend groups. I was less consistent at church and didn't do Devo or anything like that. And then I went to college 2 hours away, and there I think I could count on my one hand how many times I went to church in those 2 years.
Wow.
And then all the COVID stuff happened, got kicked off campus because they weren't letting anybody there. Ended up moving to Tennessee with my oldest sister, Molly. And it was there that I got into another spell of just anxiety, and it turned into sort of a depression. I didn't really have any friends or community besides my sister and her husband and my niece that I was watching. And I literally was I didn't have anything to do, if that makes any sense. I just didn't have a community, so I was well, church has people, let me just go to church. And so I'd bring my niece with me to church, and I started going to a Bible study up there, or a small group, which was 20s and 30s, but it was really a lot of just 30-year-olds that had a lot of 30-year-old problems, and I was there 19 years old, not really relating, but learning from experience, I guess, seeing what they did and what they're doing, how they're going through it and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until I moved home that summer. So what? That was 2021, right? Yeah, 2021. And I went to the summer camp that Nash and I met at, and I decided to commit my life to Christ then, which is funny. At a high school camp, I was a leader, but I kind of just like broke down to my sister and her husband and our youth pastor at the time that we were working with, and I think we were listening to like Available. Is it by Elevation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like breaking down at the morning worship session, and yeah, it was then. And then I started dating Nash soon after, and kind of he encouraged me a lot. And so since then, I feel like I've been not consistent. I mean, it's still up and down, but
You've been
most
very
consistent.
You've
Yeah,
been
I'm
very
just saying
consistent.
it's been a roller coaster, like my journey with the Lord, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and everybody's always going to have seasons,
Yeah.
I would say consistency has always been there.
Yes, the consistency has been there, but the seasons have been all over the place. I feel like I've been very high mountains and very low valleys. Wink, wink. That is scripture.
That was good.
Now you.
I have a question for you.
What?
What do you feel like, as you look back at your testimony, is there anything that you can see that it helped you in your relationship with us, like between us?
Ooh,
She didn't know I was saying this.
clearly.
Given the decently long pause.
I feel like, I don't know if it's part of my, I feel like it is part of my testimony, but I don't think it was before I met you. I think through dating you and being engaged to you and soon to be married, I'm not great at it, but the act of service, and we even talked about this, which I think we're going to talk about next week when it comes to pride. I don't, like growing up, I didn't do a lot for other people. Like I was very egotistical in that way of, I'm only going to do stuff if I'm going to get rewarded for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go do dishes for my family because I'm not getting anything out of it, even though I should just do it out of kindness of my heart. Like they're paying rent, all that stuff. In my head, I didn't grasp that concept until I think I started dating you and just realizing how you can really find a lot of pleasure in serving other people, but that also ties into just a selfless kind of love, and we have a really good example of that, so I need to be better with
That's
how
true.
I serve people. I feel like that's the biggest thing, but I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. I appreciate. So you just say an overall servanthood
Yes.
is what you've learned.
Yes. For our relationship, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I just think the concept of relationships and how God brings people together, it's very cool how actually it's not cool, it's amazing how much somebody can grow just by being in a relationship with somebody. I know for me, like Macey has brought a goofiness.
I think I'm funny.
I think you're very funny. I think it has brought a goofiness out of me that I don't know if it has ever truly come out before until we started dating. Maybe when I was really, a lot younger, but
Where I think
I've just always been a little more quiet or serious as a kid and definitely as an adult. But for some reason...
Well, I think it's been the opposite for me, where I grew up just in a very loud family, like just... You can...
Loud in the best way possible. It's
like,
an amazing
just
family.
Want to talk a lot, and I don't know, like...
You
It's
guys
a
are
loud
not...
family,
You guys
I
are
know.
definitely...
And so
I would not
coming
say they're
into
quiet,
your
yeah.
house, it's like very just laid back and quiet. So it's just like polar opposite, like, I don't even know, like personality types.
Your family is extroverts. My family is mostly
Yeah.
introverts. So
Where I
it's...
feel like I might be the most introverted of my family.
Yeah.
So I think I've grown more comfortable being quieter when I need to recharge and stuff like that. Because we are very polar opposites. What
Yeah.
did you say?
Yep. Definitely.
So that was cool. Anyway, how's your what is
How's
your,
my testimony going?
What is your testimony?
It's still going, so I don't know. Thank you for sharing your testimony, by the way. It was very cool to hear. I love hearing that. Fun fact, the first time I really noticed Macey was while she was listening to that available song, I think.
Really?
So,
Wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've told you that. So it's
When I
kind of
was
funny when
just
she was like having like a panic attack. It was like one of the
breaking
first
down
times I
crying.
noticed her. So
Oh, she's so cute.
I did. I thought she was cute though. So that's how you know I really love you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I mean, I'll start pretty much the same way. I mean, we grew up in a very. I realize I'm not like looking over at the camera at all.
Looked at the camera once.
Which we do have video now. The last one we tried to record, the video somehow deleted itself. So hopefully
This works.
this works
If
and
not,
it won't
we have
delete.
audio.
We have a phone and a camera, so we'll see. Either one of these work.
If it's
But-
not, it's Max's problem.
No, it's not Max's problem. He doesn't even get paid, so
Free labor.
at least he's over 18. Yeah, so I grew up in a Christian household. Both of my parents absolutely, loved the Lord, model what life with Jesus looks like really well. What it looks like to love the Lord. Went to a church that was, it was a great church. It was a really good church. What?
I'm just listening.
You're laughing.
Sorry.
It was a great church.
I'm
I
sorry.
can't even focus.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop.
This is you want to see our differences in personalities. This is it right here. The church, they really appreciated God's truth, I would say, and they did really good at finding God's truth in Scripture and the pursuit of holiness, which is all needed in the Christian walk. But I believe it's Paul who talks about, worshiping and, following the Lord in spirit and truth. And this church, they got the truth side right, but there wasn't quite as much spirit, I would say. So in that, I didn't learn as much about what a relationship with Jesus looks like, more like what obeying God looks like, and why we should obey, because if we don't, then we'll go to hell, those kind of things. I learned a lot about Scripture at that church, but again, I just didn't get that real relational knowledge. I had the head knowledge of everything, but I didn't have a true heart knowledge or experiential knowledge of it. And so that led to just comfortability in my life. It led to, slipping in areas where I shouldn't be slipping. Not that I ever, rebelled as a kid or anything like that. And it wasn't like my association was bad. It was all very comfortable. It was all really comfortable. And comfortability kills growth, right? So there was no spiritual growth going on in my life, at that church, I would say. I think there's maybe spurts every once in a while where I maybe would have it, but it was never anything super impactful, is what I would say. Until, gosh, how old was I? 18, I think. And we moved from where we had been for 12, 13 years, something like that. And we'd been at that church the whole time that we'd been down there. So that's all I'd known was that church. And again, good church. They preach truth and all that. But I was excited to leave the area that we were at and intern. We found a new church while we were up there, and it was a great church. This church was so the other church was like all truth. And then this church that we came to when we moved up here to around Orlando was like all spirit. And it was great to have that side of it because I'd never seen that side. It was all true at the other church. So now I'm seeing all spirit, and it was really amazing to see people serve because they wanted to honor the Lord, because they wanted to do it for somebody. So when you were talking about I serve just to serve, and that's not always the case. I mean, she makes it sound like I do it every time. I definitely do not. But that church taught me that, and I think it taught our family that as well. Is you serve because we're called to, right? Jesus. It says Jesus came to serve and not to be served. So if we're supposed to model our life off of Jesus, that's how we're supposed to live our life in servanthood, right, for Him. And in turn, because of your obedience, you're rewarded with joy and fulfillment. And you're not going to find that in serving anybody else. So I found a real love and passion for servanthood at that church. I wasn't getting paid, anything like that, but sometimes we'd be out there 5 days a week, serving at the church. And it was, at the time, it was super fulfilling, and there wasn't anywhere else we really want to be. But, I mean, long story short, that church just didn't really work out. There were some disagreements, which led to a lot of heartbreak, a lot of confusion, I think. I don't know if I would say in my relationship with God, I don't think I ever doubted, like, I don't know if I can really believe in him or anything like that. But it definitely made me question him and his motives for it and his purpose behind it.
Whereas now you can see. Sorry, I wanted to comment on just what you said about giving and like just serving, and how you have, like, despite that hurt from that church, right? Which I don't think you've gotten to, but despite the hurt from that church, you could have easily been like, they just used us and we did that service. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But instead you realize how fulfilling it can be, and it is to serve. And I don't know if you want me to share this necessarily, but you just demonstrate that very well. And like last week, you left my house and you drove to your house, and you saw a woman on the side of the road broken down, and he like passed her, like went 20 minutes out of the way to turn around and go back, all because you felt like the Lord was calling you to do it. And it didn't even like cross your mind to think twice about it. You were like, hey, he like sent me an audio message. Hey, just want to let you know, saw a lady on the side of the road, and if she's still there, I'm going to go help her. And I was very just meticulous on my phone, looking at Find My Friends, making sure that you were not like getting run over, which I don't know how I would be able to tell on Find My Friends, but basically I was just like,
it's a
really
new feature that they have.
Yeah.
Don't try it out.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Don't try it out.
So I was like tracking him, and basically he was like, he went all the way back to basically my house to turn around. That was like the closest way to turn around. And it was like, it added an extra 30 minutes to your trip. And she ended up getting help, and she was already gone at that point, or maybe somebody was there. I can't remember what you said, but...
Yeah, she was gone by the time we got there. I saw that there was one of those road rangers or whatever was helping her.
It was just really... I was in awe that night. It made me so happy that I just have not only Jesus, like the prime example of selfless love, like he literally was put on a cross and bled out for us and didn't think twice about it, like obviously it was painful, he cried out to the Lord, and like it wasn't easy, but seeing that, and then obviously having you, like a physical person right in front of me, and that you demonstrate it so well, really incentivizes me to do that. And I really admire that about you, and you should continue with your testimony now. So
okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Well, it's very sweet that you shared that story. And the reason I let her know that I was doing that, had it been a guy, probably wouldn't have said it, but only because it would have been me and a woman alone on the side of a road. So I didn't want to tell her about that the next day, for sure.
Just so you know.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we left that church. There was definitely a little bit of hurt there. But overall, positive experience there. Definitely brought me super close to the Lord, and I would have done... I would not be where I am right now, I don't think, had I not learned the things I did at that church. I mean, I don't know what the Lord would have done, but learned a lot there that helped me in my relationship with him now. And after that, just has been, I would say, about the same, other than the fact that I am now marrying a really beautiful woman in a few months. So I went to another church after that, and that's where we've been since. And
the week after you left that church, you were at our church.
We went to a young adult night. Yeah.
Didn't skip a beat.
Because I think it's important not to sit in your emotions, because that's just what the enemy wants to do, is keep you in those emotions and keep you doubting God. Me and my sister Maya kind of made the decision, like, to, okay, let's get out of this. We could sit here and be upset about what happened, and it doesn't mean we can't be, but let's go and let's find community, because community is so important to have when you're going through times like that. And I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point on the podcast. But what?
I was gonna make a joke, and then I decided it wasn't funny.
I want you to say it.
I was gonna say, I don't even know. I was just gonna interrupt and make a joke, and then I didn't even know what joke.
That's the funniest joke I've heard all day.
Carry on, please. Let's ignore this. Please go. Can you cut it out? Please.
Anyway, like I was saying, I know. like I was saying, that's where we've been now. Is at that church that we left after the church that we had some hurt at. We came here, and now been here for 3-ish years. No, 2.5. 2.5 years.
February will be 3.
February will be 3. It's been, a blessing, and there's things that I've done at the church that have just been really cool experiences. And if you would have told me that I was going to do them when I was like 15 or something like that, I would have literally laughed at you. So it's been really cool. But yeah, God is. There's been a lot of times where I don't understand where it's going to go, where the purpose is going to lie. But He's always faithful, and yeah, I now the way I've been talking about that church, it's a truly a positive experience, and it brought me to, like you were saying, high highs, low lows, right? But God's consistent, so that's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Our emotions are not, and things in certain situations in our lives definitely will not be. So it's such a blessing to have somebody like Jesus to rely on, right? And He's the only person to rely on. So that's mine.
I want to note too how, you just said it about how you and Maya, like the week after, not even, were already at another church, just being proactive with that. And I want to definitely, I don't plan on leaving the church we're going to anytime soon, but obviously life's going to come, and years on the road we're going to move somewhere, but
maybe
our pastor said, don't go church shopping once you move. Like, you should base where you live on your church. Hence why we're staying in Orlando, because we love our church and we want to base.
We love the traffic too.
Love traffic. But just, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I grew up where I live in the same place I have lived for 20 years. And so I love the church where I'm at. I just want to move to a different. This is kind of a tangent.
You got it.
And I realize that. But I just think it's important to base where you live off of church. Church should come first. Everything else. Well, not first. Church should come first. What am I trying to say? Relationships, your relationship with God comes first, then your partner, but it's important to know what church you're going to, and not just like, oh, I'll watch online, which it's fine to watch online occasionally because of like circumstances of life, but I'm saying to like be consistent, because community is crucial, and serving in the church is crucial, and you know what I mean? Gotta have a church. Yeah. That was where I was trying to go with that. Don't know where I ended up. God made him for a reason, that's for sure. Yeah. So let me think of a question to ask you about your testimony. Okay. What is one thing you... What is one thing that is part of your testimony? Maybe something like a way you grew up, or something you learned from church that you would like to carry into our family and our future kids and generations to come. One of the most just valuable lessons you learned. It doesn't have to necessarily be of something you just shared right now, but that, and I talked about it with my testimony, is that success, if you want to find real success, I talked about this with some middle schoolers yesterday at Sunday, is that success is in true servanthood. And so when you serve Jesus and you view that as your success in life, and that the obedience and the reward of joy in terms of that's where your success is. I think if you teach that, in our relationship, and when, we have future kids on the line, then as long as you have that, you're not going to be disappointed, right? Is because even if you go out of your way to serve that person, they don't appreciate it like you should, that Jesus is appreciating it, and that you'll be fulfilled in that way no matter what. Not to say that you're always going to feel like doing it. It's not a natural thing. Exhibit A. But by coming to God and asking for that, I think it definitely opens up a new part of your relationship with the Lord, is what I've seen. That's become a constant prayer as of lately in my life, of just like, I think you told me like a couple of weeks ago, you're like, just pray for the Holy Spirit to come, and that kind of spiraled into me asking him to use me, and whether it be uncomfortable, and I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know. Can I go into a little tangent?
Go for the tangent.
Okay, I didn't really talk about it much, but I said, like, how in Tennessee I didn't really have very many friends, right? And then I was so desperate for community, and I wanted it so deeply, but it was really difficult to just branch out. And, like, I knew I was moving. I was only there for 8 months. I knew I was moving soon, so I was like, there's no point in me making friends because I'm just gonna not be able to hang out, you know what I mean? So I did step out, and I had a couple friends up there that I meet with every once in a while, and they're really sweet, and I really don't keep in contact with them, and I feel kind of bad about that. But moving home, my sister lived here, and I kind of just, like, adopted her friends. Like, I like kind of threw myself into her friend group, which it was very kind of her to be so okay with that, and she knew that I was, like, hurting and that I was new to my faith. Like, truly, I knew the Lord before, but I didn't know the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the desire for community was there, and then Maddie moved away. She got married, and with that, I just kind of distanced myself overall, and I just prayed for community again. And the Lord has truly blessed me with people, like, just like some of our best friends. Like, we have a couple we are able to hang out with now. Like, I have been praying for that for a year. We've been dating together for a year and almost
8 months. Sorry, 8 months. Year and 8 months.
So we've been, like, this whole time, like, I've just been
4 days.
4 days. Oh yeah, 16.
Or 7 months. I don't know.
So I don't know. I've been praying for that, and we are able to do that now. And I joined a Bible study right after I graduated college, and since then, like, I've been going consistently, and now I'm helping co-lead. And I, like, would have never thought 2 years ago I'd be co-leading in a small group. It's so fulfilling. Like, it's not only, like, obviously I'm very new to co-leading it, but it's just really rewarding to be able to go. Nash just burped if it smells.
I'm so sorry. Limoncello LaCroix.
I'm just saying it. What am I? I don't know what I'm trying to say with that.
Sorry, my burp interrupted you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Just being uncomfortable isn't what you were saying, like serving, because I feel like even though I've asked for prayer, or I prayed.
Well, serving without the expectation of getting appreciation from somebody else. I
don't co-lead a Bible study to, like, get validation from the other people.
Exactly,
It truly makes me happy to be able to talk to them. Or, like, leading at our high school, it is rewarding and work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and me asking for community in that wasn't just, like, friends. It was mentors that I didn't have before that I have now, or just people I can meet with one-on-one that I can pour into and they can pour into me. It's very communal. Is that the right word? Communal? Amicable. Friendly? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Those were all different words that I don't know.
And I'm an English major, so
amicable. I didn't know what that means. Somebody
amicable is friends. Friendly.
Didn't know that.
Anyway, I that's something I wanted to talk about.
I was homeschooled, so I don't know those words.
It's okay. Another reason why we're polar opposites. Do I kind of holding it like a bro? Holy cow. Okay.
Cows aren't holy. Only Jesus. We're about at 30 minutes.
Okay, are we calling it bye, guys? No?
I don't know.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say? Because if not, I'm going to probably go into, like, next week's.
I don't think I have much else to talk about.
Well, that's our testimonies. I would like to say, we always start off and I'm really
Macy's
shy.
is better than mine.
No, that's not what I'm saying. We always start off and I'm really shy and I don't want to do it and my heart starts to, like, palpitate. But now, what am I doing? Now I'm very...
Macy picked her nose. She was rubbing on her fingers.
I wasn't.
If you saw the video, she picked her nose and was rubbing it.
So, please stop. And I love you. Please. And I don't know what I was saying. Oh, we always start off when I'm really nervous and then I end up getting more excited and extroverted or whatever. So, since we have nothing else to say, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your testimony.
Thank you for
so happy you shook my hand
coming and seeing me and sharing your testimony.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Next week,
it's been a long time.
I actually wanted to do what we're going to talk about next week. I don't know what you just said. What did you say?
Nothing.
I wanted to talk about the topic for next week this week, but Nash, well, Diego mentioned that we should do testimonies, and I thought that was a good idea. People, I'm confusing myself. Nash thought we should do testimonies, like Diego said. So, here's our testimonies. Next week, we are going to do Pride. Is that okay that I say that?
Yep.
We're doing Pride next week. And specifically, I think we're looking at, let me pull it up. James 4:10. Okay?
James 4:10. What does James 4:10 say?
Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will exalt you. James 4:10.
Boom.
So, next week, talking about that.
Pride. Pride affects our relationship. How maybe we've struggled with that.
I think pride is very...
Pride's the root of all sin, pretty much.
It's the root of all sin, but also, I mean, that just goes right into a relationship. Like, thinking your way's better than somebody else's, or the act of serving, and all that stuff. So, yes.
And it's a tough thing to get over. So, be excited to talk with you guys about that. Today is Monday.
Yes.
And it's be coming out in a couple of days, so we're excited.
And then, well, no, it's coming out today. Right now, as you're listening to it, it is out.
Because you're listening to it. Mm-hmm. Or watching it, hopefully.
We'll see if the audio or video likes to stay. Anyway, see you next week.
See you guys next Wednesday. Thanks for listening. Have an amazing week. Bye.
Bye.